Hello everybody, it's your boy WeezyFMamba. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to go ahead and discuss my honest review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game, technical test that we have been experimenting with for the last couple of days. If you guys didn't know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game based on the film franchise, the tech test arrived this weekend, actually to be exact last Thursday, May 25th. It was supposed to go through midnight last night, but we did get an extended day, another day extended as of today, so that's freaking awesome. And now that the tech test is over, we're going to go ahead and discuss the pros, the cons, what I want from the game, what I should, or I guess what we should want from the game, and my overall score for the tech test so far. So let's get right into it, and yeah, thank you. As far as the pros and cons, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go down the line of all the things that were amazing with the with the tech test, and then we're going to get to the cons, what we want for the game at full release, and then of course the overall score. So let's get to it. Pros. The family and victims, each having unique abilities and not just button prompts. Now, this essentially goes with any asymmetrical horror game, and I'm really glad that they implemented this. Instead of just being like, walk up to this, hold A, or X, or E, whatever console or PC you're on, hold this button, and then when something happens, you press it again, something happens, you press it again. Everybody has a different way of using their abilities. And again, they're all unique to said character, which I really like that about, especially the killer side too, because it just makes way more unique abilities, customization essentially for that. So I really enjoy that aspect, that each killer has a job to do. Essentially, it's not just hunt and find these people. It is literally everybody has their own specific job to do, and that is really cool. Audio design. As far as the audio goes, Wes and the team over at Gun Media absolutely, and actually it's just Gun now, sorry, over at Gun absolutely dominated the sound of this game. The tech test sound, even on a technical test, we all know that audio and visuals aren't final, was absolutely flawless. If there is an Academy Award show for video games, Gun should win everything for audio design, hands down. Probably some of the best audio I've ever heard in a game, period. Sound effects, like they had mentioned on Twitter, the birds, fire, crackling, doors slamming, the chainsaw, everything is fucking legendary, dude, and it sounds incredible. There's going to be a con about audio as well, so we'll get to that here shortly. Sorry. Voice acting, also absolutely slated. Unfortunately, with this movie being over, or almost, it'll be 50 years on the release date, 1973. The voice acting, we weren't able to get all of the people from the original film because some have passed away, including the director, Toby, which is again, something that I would like to say towards the end, for sure. I'm going to mention Toby. But absolutely everybody that was in the studio recording voice lines for this game killed it. Killed it. So great job. Graphics. Yo, guys, this is a tech test. Visuals are not final. It's plastered all over the screen. Absolutely insane for a tech test, man. I have a lower, I guess you would say more mid-tier PC, and it is just mind-blowing how the graphics and the detail of the maps, and we'll get to that even further, detail of the survivors, victims, the family members, all of it was just flawless, man. They absolutely killed it. And guys, got to remember, this is just the technical test. This ain't even what optimized to what it's supposed to and what it's going to look like on full release for gaming PCs and for next gen consoles. It's going to look insanely good. Next Pro map design, 100%. Obviously staying true to the lore of the original home from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the slaughterhouse, soon to be more maps. I'm assuming the gas station is coming as well shortly upon release of the game. Map design and details of these maps are mind-blowing. If you just take a second and look at the floors, the walls, the basement, how big, how actually vast all of these are. It's not, at first we thought the slaughterhouse map was much smaller, but my God, it's massive as well. You guys understand that there's multiple floors to these. There's 3 stories on each map, right? I mean, it's just insanely cool, and they absolutely fucking killed it, dude. Everything graphically, voicely, audioly, map design, I don't even know if those are words, but they've knocked it out of the park, dude. Flawless. Let's continue with the pros. While simple, learning the mechanics and working together is crucial, and I love that this game requires you to work together and punishes people that don't work together and not knowing their correct jobs. That goes for family members and victims at the same time, especially the family side, though. If you guys think of it with the family side, legitimately requiring, hitchhiker. You spawn outside on the house map, right? And you are the closest one to the generator. Make sure, as the hitchhiker, that you are going straight to that generator, right? Straight to the car battery, whatever, however you want to play. But there's just certain things. Leatherface, required to destroy the crawl spaces. The obstacles that are covered in barbed wire that only victims can go through. Same thing. That's his job, right? The cook, collecting blood and feeding grandpa, like off rip. A speed run of 100 blood is always great to do, especially when you can get grandpa ranked up to level 1. The cook's job off rip is really good. Getting to that car battery fence to padlock the fence is crucial as well. Everybody has their abilities and their jobs, and that's what I really like about this. Again, it's not just, okay, I spawned as the cook, you spawned as hitchhiker, I'm just gonna go search for the killer or search for the victims and spam right trigger, right? So yeah, that's what I really love about this game, just the uniqueness behind it. Intense chase scenes, absolutely awesome as well. The chasing, being chased as survivor, or I'm gonna say survivor forever, as victim, is terrifying, and because of another pro, which was the audio design. The audio design is what makes this game so good. For example, you can make or break horror. I'll tell you guys right now, there's a game called Alien Isolation. This game was well received, but was not like, if you ask somebody what's your top 10 favorite horror games of all time, that might not make the list, but they fucking nailed it because of the audio design. Alien Isolation's audio design was insanely good, and it was fucking frightening. This is what, same thing with TCL, dude. It just killed it. So I love it. So yes, the chase scenes, awesome. Getting chased by Leatherface with that fucking chainsaw revving in your ear, dude. Come on now. Lore. Obviously, we already know the lore. Everybody looks to their counterpart of the film. The design of the house is to a T. They did their homework. And as far as the lore and the way that these people act, and soon to be even more, it's just so good that they did their homework. And you know that they did because they've been talking about doing it for this long. Huge fans of the franchise, and that's, now I'm just so happy that they get to do something and work on something that they personally love to do. So that's great. And then the optimization, once again, how smooth the frames ran. Insanely good optimization for not even being in an alpha and beta yet. I had 0 lag problems. I had no lag spikes. I didn't get disconnected or booted or this or that. It was flawless, man. And for something that had all of these things that could have gone wrong in a pre-test, tech test, pre-alpha, even in betas, shit like that happens, and it's horrendous, unfortunately. But nothing, legitimately nothing. They fucking nailed it, dude. They nailed it. Big shout out to you guys for the pros of TCM Tech Test. It was a blast, man. It was a blast. Now, there are some things that need to be worked on, at least in my opinion. Again, don't come at me. Don't hate on me if you guys disagree. These are just my opinion. And I know that some people aren't going to agree with the graphics that they thought was good, or they don't like the audio design, or etc. We're going to have pros and we're going to have cons, and you guys are going to have pros and cons as well. Cons. Now, as far as the graphics and map design detail, this is the only issue that I had with the graphics. And again, I know that the visuals are not final. So again, this is just cons of the tech test, and not just be like, oh, I can't play it because, of this. Fuck this game because of this. These are just observations, okay? Darkness of each map. The darkness, corners, I get it. We're supposed to have hiding spots as victims, but when you are playing killer and you're unable to find anything in that sense, of certain corners are too dark outside. And these are daytime maps, right? And we know that nighttime versions of these maps are coming just simply because of the menu screen that says Family House, dawn, Slaughterhouse, day. My assumption is we're going to be getting some nighttime and maybe some evening time maps of those versions of those maps as well. So the lighting, of course, could be a problem. I have, like I said, a really good PC. I do have a brand new television monitor that was being used for the tech test. And it's in 120 hertz, 4K, and it still had trouble seeing in certain spots. Too many iframes, especially the Slaughterhouse map, and too many wells on the family map. And I guess there might be the same amount of wells on the other map yet. I haven't played the Slaughterhouse map enough to understand, but I did do some testing on the Slaughterhouse map. As far as the crawlable spaces, the cracks in the wall, and the crawl tunnels, there are far too many for survivors to get out of, victims to abuse, especially with the Slaughterhouse map. It's bonkers, and the fact that you can only squeeze through those cracks as one of the family members, the killers, creates an issue for me. If I'm not it almost makes me want to be Hitchhiker 100%, simply because of that. I know that Sissy will be able to squeeze through those cracks too, as well, as according to one of the tips on the menu screen, that Sissy is small enough to fit through those. But it still creates an issue for me. Now, on the other hand, it's fucking cool because it requires you to work together. And if I have a victim who is iframe hopping in between each, let's say, the crawl space, or anything to that extent of something, right? The cracks in the wall. I need to call over one of my other family members to help me with this person. And you know, it's a double-edged sword for me. I hate it because I love playing killer main, but I like it because it requires you to work together, and there's nothing better than working together in a video game, in my opinion. So I love that, but I hate it at the same time. Stamina problems on killer side, on the family members. Even with Leatherface and Hitchhiker having the a really insane stamina pool, we know that the cook's stamina is atrocious, and believe it or not, I know he's an old man, but I never understood the stamina loss when swinging your weapon. For example, in Evil Dead the game, created by Saber Interactive, Evil Dead the game, which I'm wearing the shirt right now, big fan. You don't lose your stamina when you are swinging your axe or your weapon or anything like that. You only lose stamina when you are dodging or sprinting, right? So I'm not sure why that stamina issue is in the game on killer side. Yeah. Okay. So that's just my opinion on it. I do find it a little weird that you lose a really humongous chunk of stamina just by swinging your knife, the broomstick handle, the switchblade, I'm sorry, or the chainsaw at the moment. So yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. But I'm not a big fan of that. All right. Obviously, again, the con of the tech test. No partying up feature was available at the moment, and that was probably the worst part about it. You know, as far as being a content creator and working a lot of times with other content creators, we would love to have teamed up, partied up, especially when you play a new game. You want to play with your homies. You guys want to experience things together. You want to just have that scenario where it's, I can rely on comms and not rely on solo queue. And it's just, for me, that was big. We needed the party up feature. Of course, they did mention that it was stripped for the tech test, and of course it will be on launch, so we know that it's coming. We just wish during the testing phase we would have been able to test with our friends and not be forced into solo queue or trying to lobby snipe. The second worst thing to me about the tech test for me was the tutorial. There was a visual tutorial. And again, I know it's the tech test. I know there's probably going to be a full-blown interactive tutorial on release of the game, possibly even in the alpha or the beta. But that was big for me. I am a hands-on learner, and since there was no hands-on tutorial, it was difficult. And I'm still struggling extremely hard as a victim instead of where I am a victim main mostly in all other asymmetrical titles, and I don't have any issues. The hands-on tutorial would have been really nice to help, especially with map design, learning what my abilities do. The hub only could explain how much it was. There's no like, okay, let me look at my build real quick and see what Sunny's ability does. I did have to go to a website, the TCM hub, to understand what each of the abilities did. So that was a big issue with me, but unfortunately, there's not really a lot outside of the visuals and iframes and stamina that has something to do with the actual game. These are just features that need to be implemented definitely by the end of the by the start of launch in August. And that the last two cons that I had for the tech test were the audio connection problems throughout the tech test. I had never had issues with my $300 headset of Turtle Beaches. I switch back to my Xbox every day, this morning, yesterday, the day before, and it connects right problem, never disconnects through for some reason, and I'm not the only one. There was audio connection issues throughout the tech test. There were certain games where I played an entire match muted because I didn't have a microphone because my headset was connecting. There was an entire time where I played an entire match with no audio, and I had to literally go in essentially deaf into this match and try and get a win visually only. Again, it's a thing. Another con is not knowing what an actual victory is according to Gun, or I guess according to the game itself. There's no indicator on, like, is 4 out of 4 required for a victory? Is 3 out of 4 enough for a victory since it's majority? 2 out of 4 is a wash. If 3 or more victims escape, it's a loss. That makes sense. That's what it would be, but it was never explained, so we don't know. And I think it's a little harsh for 4-4. I can understand majority tilting either side to be considered a W. But according to the visual tutorial, if you cannot let anybody escape, and it makes it sound like it was a loss if even one victim escaped out of the 4. So I'm not sure. And last but not least, and again, I'm not complaining about it because I was able to play. But if we wanted to stress test the servers, which is what essentially this tech test was for, testing, gameplay, reviews, etc., but mainly the stress test on the servers, which we get, if we remember correctly, when Gun and Ilphonic released Friday the 13th, there are reports that they had stress tested servers privately for 25,000 people to log in on the first day, and 750,000 copies were sold in 24 hours. Remember that, guys, of how insane that is. They what is that? 1 billion times more that they had actually stress tested for, and it broke the game. Remember, at Friday the 13th on launch, we had to LFG private match everything for at least a month. So I get that. Why not test stress test on all platforms? I think that would have been a better idea in that scenario. Being able to test via, console, PC, etc. But again, I'm not a game developer, and I don't know if that is like something that wasn't able to be done. Maybe it's a licensing thing. Maybe it's they weren't coded correctly or optimized yet for console. I mean, it makes sense. So that's just something that I put down, and just to make sure. I feel like if you were to stress test servers, you would want on all platforms. But I could be totally wrong, so don't roast me on that, please. And that's it. That's the cons for the game. Let me go ahead and talk about what we want at full release, and then, of course, the score, and we're out of here. The simple, again, the cons, if you looked at it, is only 3 of them. 3 of the cons of the tech test were game-related. 4 of the cons were not game related, and it was just something that was missing, quote unquote, if that makes sense. What I want at full release that hasn't been announced yet, and that is going to be proximity chat. It's a must, man. Give us proximity chat so we can talk that shit, okay? Especially when you're chasing somebody. There's nothing better than singing a T-Pain song. And if you guys know and have watched my streams on Twitch, you know what I'm talking about. More licenses for future customization. Obviously, this hasn't been announced yet, but my assumption is, of course, they'll be obtaining more licenses for TCM2, 3, next generation, 3D, etc. We want more and more and more skins and customizables and maps and all of it. So if they want to, you know, continue to support this game and continue in the franchise, as far as like we're gonna start adding, you know, TCM2 stuff, that's always something that we would love at launch. And then of course the last thing is to address the cons that I wrote above. Lighten it up a little bit. Give me an option to where I can change my gamma a little bit more. Maybe block off some iframes, or when you create new maps, maybe don't give that many iframes or that many wells to jump down. It's a lot of looping, and we all are very aware of how this works in asymmetrical games. Again, the stamina, the party up features, which we know are going to be on launch, a better tutorial for sure, and audio. My assumption, once again, since I am an Xbox Series X player, that when it's optimized for Xbox, I shouldn't have any issues with the connection for audio, but always just in case, if I wasn't the only one experiencing those issues. So hopefully that all gets fixed on launch. And that is essentially my tech test review, guys. Gun, again, an overall score is going to be an 8 out of 10 for now. On release, I'm almost certain this game is going to shoot to a 9 or a 10, because I think they just deserve everything that they've done. And Toby Hooper would be so proud of Gun and Wes and Andy and everybody that's been involved with this game by doing its justice. I just feel like they just did an incredible job. There are some kinks to work out, and that's why they have tests, and that's why they're going to have an alpha and a beta and everything. We're a couple months out. Full release of the game is August 18th of this year, about 80 or so days away, a little less than 3 months. So that's just what I think. Again, I don't feel like a lot of you guys are going to agree with me, but I always want to kind of do this now on my YouTube channel, where I give my honest review of what of that, and I may be wrong about a few things. Again, I'm not a full-blown knowledgeable developer of video games. I'm just a fan, and these are the things that I have noticed, and I will always strongly voice my opinion. So again, big time shout out, guys. Like I said, they killed it. 8 out of 10 score so far. This is going to be great for the indie horror game community. And I'm very, very excited and very grateful that I was able to be a part of the tech test. So yeah. Anyways, if you guys like what you see, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you catch me live on Twitch every morning, 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Same handle as my YouTube, WeezyFMamba. And I can't wait. I can't wait to continue to play this game and stream it even more come August. So yeah, thank you guys again. Big time shout out. Let me know what you guys thought about the TCM tech test in the comments section, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much. Take care.